The Quest for Five is an original series created by Psycho Bass Monkey. In the Quest for Five, the monkey puts a lure on a body of water and gives that angler 4 hours to find, pattern, and catch his 5 best bass. At the end of the 4-hour period, we slide back into the ramp and hoist the fish onto the scales to see what kind of damage our featured angler has inflicted on the bass population. Here's part 2.
Almost. We have a visitor. Like most you structure people know, you get to catching them. People like to creep in on you a little bit. So they kind of slow down here a little bit. And so we picked up the brush hog, the Texas rig brush hog, trying to see if we can't catch another one out of this little school that we've located. People always think of the brush hog as just a flipping bait or a Carolina rig bait or something along those lines, but it is an awesome open water bait as well. Like that right there. Not a big one, but it's another one out of school. Called the old Zoom brush hog, watermelon candy. Oh, get ready, Todd. Oh. Sinking one hit it. Another keeper. That fish was in like 30 foot of water. On the bottom. Way deep for this time of year. Oh, that's dangerous right there. I just got done throwing a brush hog in that school and caught a couple more fish out of it. I decided to pick that football jig back up there and just see if there's one more willing. The nice thing about the football jig is it's a lot heavier, it gets down a lot faster, it gives me a lot more positive feedback. Just because on that brush hog, I only had a 7/16 ounce sinker. This football jig is probably a heavy 5/8. Every school is a little bit different. Some of them want plastic, some of them want the bait off the bottom, some want a football jig, some want a crankbait. There's one right there, hit it on the sink. And it's a good one too. Solid keeper. Not as big as what I thought it was, but that's still meat. Football jig and a solid keeper. You know, that really reminds me, because it almost caught me off guard right there. When you're fishing in a spot, you know there's a lot of fish on the bottom, and you know there's a lot of fish that are elevated, suspended in the water column. You have to pay attention from start to finish, because what'll happen is that bait will fall down through them, and one may grab it, just like what happened there. I was waiting for it to hit the bottom, probably 30 foot out there, and it only sank 10 foot and one popped it. There's one right there, hit it on the sink. And another thing that can happen is, when you're reeling it in, it comes off the bottom and it shoots up through those suspended fish. And when it does that, they may hit you with 4 foot of line, and I can't tell you how many I've seen eat it right here at the boat before I pull it out of the water. So every time that jig falls down, it's falling through them. Every time you reel it up, it's coming up through them. So deep right here, so much deep water, so close. You know, you got to make that long cast, and you got to let that bait fall on semi-slack line, or else what'll happen is as it's falling, it'll pendulum back to the boat. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, 4-pounder or something, 4 something. I could see, I was just about to say, Todd, I don't know if you could see that, but 10 foot to the left of where my line is, there's a huge boil on the water. That joker came and got mine. That waypoint dot's right in the middle of my circle. Cast right there towards that bluff. Well, my bait gets about somewhere right in there. One just took the water off it. Took the water off it again. Twice. 1 cast. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. That one will go. Oh, she got it too. Hey, what about that slouch donkey? Slouch donkey, baby. That's a gator right there, boy. Game changer in the quest for 5. Game changer. Beautiful fish. You can tell she just starting to put it back on. See her tail is all healed up now. Got one little sore left on her belly, but she's definitely doing it. Hey, what's most important is watch this. That's a good fish. That's a better fish. Cullen in the quest for 5. Quest for 5. You know, I just got done culling again. I don't have much time left in my quest for 5. It's been awesome. That's a good fish. It's been real spotty, and then I finally found a school of good ones. That's what I'm talking about right there. And I just caught a kicker, one well over 5. And what I did was I just completely changed the angle. I was fishing on that side of the ledge. There's one right there, hit it on the sink. And I swung my boat around all the way around the opposite side of the point. And then I threw back across on the same angle except in the opposite direction. Took the water off it again. And I caught the biggest fish out of the whole school, or biggest fish that I've caught out of the whole school anyway. So that's what I was talking about earlier. You got to consistently change the angle on these fish to get them to go. Even if the fish are in the same spot, just work around and figure out which direction they want it coming from. I've got about 15 minutes left in my quest for 5, and I'm debating whether I just stay here and try to iron one more out of this school, or if I make a move. It's been the most concentrated school. There were several times there I went 4, 5, 6 casts in a row, either catching one or getting a bite. They've kind of slowed down now, so I'm trying to figure out whether I want to go ahead and try to find another school real quick with what little time I have, or if I just want to stay and catch one more here. They've definitely slowed down a little bit. I don't know if I need this fish or not, but I've caught probably 10 or 12 out of here. I think I'll just go back to that other angle. Maybe try them here. I got a decent stringer. It's close, isn't it? See if I can't get one more, just one more. Good solid coal. It's gonna have to be a pretty good one though. There they are right there. Suspended right there where it breaks off. Right on top of it, there's your bait right there. Look at all them fish on top of that thing. Look at them all. We didn't hurt them none. Here it is on the regular mapping. See, I was bringing my boat in on this side right here. See, we idled straight across there. There's the fish we just showed you. And they're right there off the tip of that little spine. This marker right here is my boat position mark for the very end of it. So I hold my boat right there. Sometimes I'll get on the very end and I'll throw right in on it. So I just swung around this side. I held the boat right here and threw perpendicular to it. And that's where I caught the majority of the fish. And that kicker, I came over here, I switched the angle, I got my boat over here, and I threw this way. And that's how I caught the kicker. So that's just what I look for and how I'll spend my time structure fishing on a spot like that. There was a bite. I got 15 minutes left in my quest for 5. I decided to go ahead and get a couple more casts on another point. It seems like every place I fished today, it seems like the first 2 or 3 or 4 casts I made, I caught them. So there's some active fish on these places. So I'm just gonna try one more spot. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. I ended up getting healed up at that last spot, so we're just gonna see what happens here. Hey guys, my time's winding down. It's 12:59. I got a minute left. 4 hours to catch 5 is a lot harder than what I actually thought it was going to be. You know, usually in a tournament scenario, you get at least 8 hours of fishing. Today you get half of that. You know, obviously with the fish kind of being in transition and just they're constantly moving, you know, you're going looking. It's not like it's to that point in time of the year yet where you can just pull up in the spot, you know the angle, you know the line, you're gonna catch them. So all in all, I'm pretty proud of what I did. It was just one of those days where it was one here, one there, one here, one there, and then all of a sudden we got right. I got close to 20. That's the way structure fishing is. It gets a lot more consistent a little bit later here, but all things being equal, I hope you enjoyed riding with me in my quest for 5.
All right, guys, we're wrapping up here with Psycho Bass Monkeys Quest for 5. Marcus put a hurting on them today out there, man. Good job, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. We're gonna put these fish on the scales. We're gonna see what kind of damage Marcus inflicted on the bass population out there. Marcus figured a little something out. I learned myself a whole lot today about post-spawn fishing and how fish, you know, they'll suspend up off the bottom. They're in a different part of the water column, and if you're fishing on bottom, you're just not gonna get bit. So we'll let Marcus talk about that after we get the fish on the scale.
Number 1, big old post spawner. Number 2, that's a good one right there, post spawn. Number 3, another solid one. There we go. Number 4, my quest for 5. Number 5. Right around 21 pounds. That ain't bad. Some good ones, baby. That ain't bad for a quest for 5. Let's get these back in the water before we release them so we can visit a little bit about our day. Hey everybody, thanks for being with me on Psycho Bass Monkeys Quest for 5. A lot of peaks and valleys throughout the day. You know, once again, it's here the first part of June at Lake of the Ozarks. Everything's kind of slow. Usually by now, there's a lot of fish out there on a lot of that structure, and we end up finding one really good school. But a couple things I really keyed in on. You know, I love structure fishing, and the thing you have to find out about on the structure fishing is, are they on the steeper stuff or on the flatter stuff? And if they're on the flatter stuff, are they on top or are they on the side? And some of the baits that we relied on to try to figure out exactly what was going on was Zoom Brush Hog. That's just a staple all year round.
That's a good one too.
Tremendous bait. I threw a little bit of the Zoom Trick Worm. I kind of hit a stride there where I was kind of struggling a little bit, really looking for something to get clued in. That Magnum Trick Worm is an awesome fish catcher. So I threw that bait as well. The football jig, once again, another staple when it comes to structure fishing. It's a big, bulky bait, but it's condensed. It gives you immediate feedback on the bottom. You know exactly what's going on. You can cover some of that deeper water really quickly, and that really helps you kind of fish more effectively throughout there. As the day went on, you know, everything I was seeing on my hummingbirds, the fish, instead of getting down on the bottom, everything kind of kept rising up to the surface. And you got to pay attention when you're out there to everything you're seeing. I don't care if you're off of it or if you're on the actual structure itself. You pay attention to everything that you're seeing. And I was seeing those fish, everything, the bait, everything was coming up off of the bottom. You know, I don't know today, I'll be curious to check to see if all of a sudden they quit generating current and the water level started to come up or something along those lines. But then I picked up a swim bait and I was able to catch some of my better fish on that today. So bottom line is, it's June, it's post-spawn, it's early. I was able to go ahead and find one awesome school, and it was a great time out there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a true pleasure to be on the Quest for 5 by Psycho Bass Monkey, and look forward to trying to come back and do it again.
This has been a Talon Media production. Thank you for watching Psycho Bass Monkey's Quest for 5. Be sure to check us out at psychobassmonkey.com and on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well.